Yo, what's up, your man Big Regg? We talking that talk right now with my man J.I.
Yes,
What's
sir.
good with you?
I'm good.
First off, welcome, man.
Thank you for having me.
You've been out the way for a minute. Pandemic things?
Facts.
Yeah, well,
Hibernating, bagging up this work. Dropped a project recently, Young and Restless, out now on all DSPs.
Okay.
Working on this next one, loading up this tour too.
all right. So let's take it back a year or two. Pandemic hit us, 2020. Nobody knew what was going on.
Yeah.
J.I., you was like at the top of your game at the time.
hmm
How was that? How did that affect you?
The pandemic.
Yeah.
It was just more pressure to break the diamond, I guess, because it was just something that nobody was used to on this planet. We didn't know what a pandemic was. At least I didn't know. I didn't know what coronavirus was, and then it hit, and then we had to all adjust and get used to it, and kind of develop a whole new work method. But I mean, it worked out in my favor. It worked out in your favor. I feel like we found a way to make everything happen, and the rest was history.
Yeah, so you never really stopped working. You were still working through the pandemic.
Thank you. Yeah.
That had to be tough. How was you able to manage that?
The pandemic froze a lot of things for a lot of people. If you weren't hustling, if you weren't working, you weren't making any money. So that's where I could see a lot of people going down. But for me, it was just about staying consistent. I had already built something prior to the pandemic coming in, so I was gonna be damned if the pandemic ruined that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you kept it going. How tough was it? Because a lot of people wasn't letting events happen. Venues weren't open.
Yeah.
It was states that weren't open, and you toured nationally.
hmm
So how were you able to do that?
Yeah, that is a good point. I don't know, to be honest. We just, like I said, there were a lot of requirements you needed, and this is what kind of messed up the fan base, not the fan base, but the fans from coming in the ticket counts, because not every person that wanted to come to the show was vaccinated. Not everybody had a negative corona test, and not everybody didn't. There were people that had the flu. There were people that caught COVID prior to the show, and now they couldn't come. I've had people in my shows with COVID, literally. So now thinking back on it, I could have probably had more fans there. We would have probably enjoyed the show a different way, but it didn't really. That's the only thing it affected, I would say. Just the ticket count and the fans and the procedure, the normal procedure we used to get inside the shows, to get out the shows. But besides that, everything was Gucci, good money.
All right, so let's take it back to the beginning of J.I. Now, I happen to be a fan of the TV show, The Rap Game. I remember you, J.I. the Prince, with all the hair, the little fiery kid who wanted to battle everybody.
Yeah.
What was that experience like?
It was overwhelming. I was a young kid.
How old were you when you was on it?
Still young. I'm 20 now. I was 14 at that time.
Wow.
So this was my introduction to the world.
Yeah.
This was the world's introduction to me, to J.I., to this young kid from Brooklyn. And it was crazy because there were other kids on that season that were groomed and set up way more efficient than I was. But they would mess up, or they would forget their lyrics, or they would have a writer's block moment, or they would just, like I said, mess up completely, and with the lyrics just not coming out now. And that happens on television when you got a camera on you, when you think, wow, the world is watching me, and when you're a kid that puts pressure on themselves. So there would be times where I didn't really have time to feel this pressure. It just wasn't the right place. It wasn't the right time. I have time to feel pressure while I'm finding out what's going on, but when I have to perform this and do it, I don't have time for that, because I'm going to mess up and I'm going to make myself look silly. I have all the time to reflect on this afterwards when I get the job done. So it was a dope experience, but it was really eye-opening too, because you see firsthand who got it and who don't.
Yeah, there was a lot of people. Who was on that? What season were you on? The first?
I was on number 2.
You're on the second season.
Yeah.
Okay, and the artists, like you said, they were on there. They had followers on social media.
Yeah.
They had things going on. You didn't have it as much.
Nah.
And you were still on it.
Mhm. And I was still performing good. Some of these kids had a fan base. They were getting booked to do shows. They were doing music videos. They were in the studio recording consistently. They even knew some of the other kids from doing shows with them. And here comes this nasty kid from Brooklyn with an afro who has no experience, but the fact that he's been rapping for 2 years, word of mouth.
Not knowing how to hold a microphone or anything.
Yeah, literally. I would hold it like, it was weird. I would hold it awkwardly. I wouldn't know how to place it. I wouldn't know that when I speak, the mic has to be and towards my mouth. It was just a whole learning process.
Well,
that
you was 14.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, but that show, like I said, I watched it relentlessly. It was a dope show. I love music and I love entertainment rather, and it was both of those. It was both entertaining.
Dope.
So now after that show, you didn't win, and you and Lotto are the two who's been on the show who I say are successful right now. I don't know what the other ones are doing, but the ones that we see are being successful.
Yeah.
But none of you guys are doing it with Jermaine, who brought you on the show.
Yeah, we had to go our own route, and it wouldn't have worked out with him.
Were you even offered anything from Jermaine or anybody after the show?
Nah, I know he would tell me stuff like he wanted to sign me, but that was just like, that was just speaking. It wouldn't have worked out either, because he had his own goal, he had his own vision, and what we needed and what we wanted to be done had to be done somewhere else. And it worked for her and for me.
Yeah. All right, my man J.I., he's here. All right, so you go from doing the rap game to me not seeing you for a minute. What was that space in between the rap game and the J.I. that we know now? What was going on in that space?
Just getting myself together. I was young. I had a lot going on mentally. I had to accept the fact that the sound that I was creating around that time, people weren't liking it. They didn't relate to it, and a lot of people hated on it. So I had to, almost a reality check. I had to come to a realization, what am I gonna do? What music am I gonna make? Not even just what music, but how am I gonna make this music in a way where people can relate to my story now? And that's what it took. It took me molding myself for 1.5 years, 2 years. And finally I came out the woodworks, and I put everything together, and it kind of hit. It hit quicker than I thought it would, but it hit and it worked.
Okay, and we was talking about this, how you gain success, and once you get that, you have people around you, and you had those people around you, and some things...
Leeches.
That's what you call them, leeches.
Yeah.
So internally you have people who... they change once you get fame, and it's people who show who they really are once you get fame, and you went through that.
I went through that with friends. I'm going through that with family. It's all premeditated. It's premeditated hatred,
So when you say premeditated, you saying that they plan to do the things they're doing to you?
It's not even that. Well, when a thief steals from you, they have the plan in mind. They know who they're gonna target and what they're gonna get. So it's the same way with people that you grew up around. People that, this is my brother, I call him my brother. But every time I turn my back, this dude that I call my brother is running his mouth about me, talking shit about me, or planning on taking something from me. And it never happened, God willing, thank God. But even with family, I come around and I feel the premeditated hatred. I feel the premeditated bullshit that's going on. You can just feel when a conversation has already been developed prior to you knowing about it, and then the way it comes out, it just becomes a bunch of crazy things, And especially with the family part, the friend part, I could cut off a friend. I don't care about that. But with family, it's just like, this is home. Like, we got the same blood,
it's some family you can cut off too. Sometimes.
Oh yeah, facts.
You know what they say?
It just hits different.
They say the only thing really makes you family is blood. You know what I'm saying? So you got friends who are, actually probably closer to you than your actually family.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So you could cut them off too.
Facts. It just hits different because it's like, we grew up together. We was raised around each other. I was raised to think that this person has my back no matter what, and they don't.
That gotta feel crazy, and it gotta make you move differently because somebody that close to you going left on you.
Yeah.
You seem like a different J.I. right now.
Yeah, man. And I'm chilling. I'm not... It really helps with the music in the long run. It helps with the creativity. But, it sucks that has to happen, but it happens. That's life. And you gotta let these people cut themselves off. I let them cut themselves off, Yeah, I did it, not me. It is what it is.
Do you think that the fame came too fast for you?
It definitely came fast, but it hit hard. I adjusted to it, but the people around me didn't, and they didn't know how to adjust to it. So that's where everything fell into place and kind of aligned itself.
Now, you said that you had a family member or whatever talking shit about you and planning to take things from you. Now, that sounds like somebody was planning to try to rob you.
Not even take things from me, because it was just they was talking shit, and there's several family members, and it's to the point where I got people who just came in the picture coming to me telling me what somebody who's been in my life my whole life is saying about me. It's like, no disrespect, but it becomes a game where it's like, you ain't shit, like, for real. Like, that's how I